Hey friends, haven't subscribed yet? Go ahead and do it right now so you don't miss out on new stories. Expanded story with more intrigue and death. Part 1. I, a 32-year-old man, and my wife, Jennifer, 31, have enjoyed a strong relationship during our 2 years of marriage. Despite our demanding 9-to-5 jobs, office work, meetings, and occasional business trips, we managed to maintain a solid connection. Even when our schedules kept us apart for days, we respected each other's professional aspirations. Having a driver was a necessity, especially for Jennifer, who wasn't fond of driving. The driver was primarily hired for her since she had several places to go throughout the day. Both of us owned cars, but after our original driver passed away a few weeks ago, we had to find a replacement. After contacting various agencies, we hired a new driver, Marcus, a competent 27-year-old with good credentials. However, despite his professionalism, I couldn't shake my unease. It wasn't that I didn't trust Jennifer. I trusted her completely. But Marcus's youth and good looks, combined with the amount of time he would be spending with my wife, triggered a certain insecurity within me. Jennifer, being the beautiful woman that she is, added to my concerns. Nevertheless, I tried not to voice these feelings, especially when Jennifer praised Marcus for his work. He's just so reliable. She smiled one night over dinner. He waits patiently, doesn't complain, and honestly, he's better than our last driver. I feel safer with him. I smiled weakly. I'm glad you feel that way, I replied, but deep down, something gnawed at me. Weeks passed, and my concerns faded until one evening when everything changed. Part 2. A month into Marcus' employment, Jennifer's behavior subtly shifted. Her business outings seemed to last longer, and while she attributed it to work commitments, a part of me sensed something was off. I'll be back later tonight. Another long meeting, she'd say, kissing me quickly before heading out. She frequently talked about how kind Marcus was, how he'd stay late, wait for her during meetings, and even rush to take her to the hospital when she felt unwell. Honestly, you should consider giving him a raise, she suggested over breakfast one day. He's been so helpful. The other day, I had a migraine and called him on his day off. He rushed over immediately to take me to the clinic. I clenched my jaw slightly. A raise, huh? I muttered. Yeah, we'll see. Then came the night I returned early from a business trip. I had planned to surprise Jennifer, excited to spend quality time with her over the weekend. But when I arrived home, her car wasn't there, and the driver, who should have left hours earlier, was also absent. Maybe her car's at the mechanic, I suggested to the security guard at the gate. He shook his head. No, sir. Mrs. Jennifer left earlier this evening with the driver. She didn't mention anything about a mechanic. Something in my chest tightened, but I shrugged it off. Thanks. Do me a favor and don't mention that I'm home yet, okay? The guard nodded, and I went inside. As I settled into the living room, waiting for her return, I tried to push the growing anxiety from my mind. An hour later, I heard the sound of her car pulling up. I watched as she stepped out of the passenger seat, dressed more elegantly than usual, her hair freshly done as if she'd attended an event. Marcus got out of the driver's side, walking her to the door. I could feel my heart pounding. They giggled like teenagers, her hand lightly brushing his arm as they walked toward the front door. That's when I saw it, a kiss. Not on the cheek, but on the lips. A kiss that lingered far too long. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Without thinking, I flicked the lights on, stepping out from my hiding place. The sudden light startled them, and they stood there like criminals caught in the act. Jennifer's face went pale, her mouth falling open in shock. Whoa, what are you doing home? She stammered, pulling away from Marcus. I didn't expect you. You didn't expect me. I laughed bitterly. Clearly, and I didn't expect to see this. I gestured at the two of them. Marcus stood frozen, his eyes wide as he tried to form an excuse, but I wasn't interested. Get out, I said coldly, pointing toward the door. Both of you. Jennifer's eyes well up with tears. Wait, let me explain. I don't want to hear it, Jennifer. Get out of my house. And you, I turned to Marcus, my voice icy. You're fired. Don't ever come back here. He nodded wordlessly, scrambling to the door while Jennifer lingered, begging me to hear her out. But I was done. I was too angry to listen. I shut the door in their faces and sat down in the living room, unable to process how my marriage had collapsed so quickly. Part 3. After being married for 8 years, I thought I had a stable relationship with my wife, Sarah. We had 2 beautiful boys, ages 8 and 5, and a seemingly normal family life. But underneath, cracks had begun to form. In 2020, things took a turn. Sarah had become more distant, citing our lack of intimacy and my struggles with my career. We grew apart. She spent hours watching Netflix while I scrolled aimlessly through my phone. It was clear something was wrong, but I didn't realize how deep the betrayal ran. A few months ago, I received a message from an unexpected source, Sarah's old co-worker's wife. She sent me screenshots of Sarah's text with her husband. They had been meeting for lunch, exchanging flirty messages, and rekindling something that had never fully died. When I confronted Sarah, she admitted to making out with him during these secret meetings. You didn't think this was worth mentioning? I asked, trying to stay calm. It was just, I don't know. I needed attention. Things between us haven't been good, she muttered, avoiding my gaze. I sighed deeply. Do you love him? Sarah bit her lip, hesitating. I don't know. I feel something for him. Reader comments. That kiss at the door. I can feel the betrayal. It's not just about the act. It's about the trust being shattered. You did the right thing by kicking them out. People think they can get away with anything, but trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to fix. The second story hits hard. When someone seeks attention outside the marriage, it's a sign that there's something deeply wrong. But man, that hurts. It's crazy how small changes in behavior can signal something huge is wrong. I feel for you, man.